There's been a revolt. The Helldivers. They've risen up.
I've been part of it.
Yeah, it's been good fun.
Yeah.
Nothing else.
Democracy has prevailed here. Ironically enough.
Before I continue, I must promote this. This is a production manager job at lotuses.com. So if you go to lotuses.com, scroll down to careers, there is a job there where you can go and read about it. And if it's for you, apply. If don't. Anyway, we shall move on. Because some people may have noticed that over the weekend, this chart floated around a bit, and it's Steam reviews. And as you can see, for quite a while, Helldivers 2 was getting some nice, good, positive reviews, who now look rather tiny by comparison to that big, long 3 stretch of brown.
That is
Red.
significant, isn't it?
There's literally 100,000 negative reviews.
Yeah. Something happened, and all of a sudden,
More than.
something happened in the last weekend. And the
Some
entire
people did something.
the entire community plus some decided to all move their reviews to negative, hundreds of thousands of them, which... Whew,
What could have happened to provoke this?
Well, it turns out it was this. So Helldivers 2 decided that you had to make a PlayStation Network account if you wanted to continue playing the game beyond, I think, May 8th or something like that. And PC gamers took this news well.
Yeah, well, I'm a PC gamer. I don't have a console. I've never owned a PlayStation. I don't want a PlayStation account.
So the reason that PlayStation are involved in this is they're the publisher for the game, and they insisted, apparently, that this be part of the game. And it was at launch, and then it crashed the entire servers, so then they got rid of it because you were breaking the launch and ruining the opening few weeks. So they've just let everyone play it, and it's fine. And then as part of the contract, this was meant to be the circumstance, and now they're trying to bring it back. And as you can see, this is not just kind of crappy, and we'll get into how kind of crappy it is for those of us who can make a PlayStation Network account but don't want to. It's these people as well, in any of these countries, they're just buggered. Too bad. If you bought the game, you now own a brick. You do not own a video game because you won't be able to play it.
What does Sony have against the people of Palestine there? Are they taking a side?
They're trying to... Gibraltar's on the list, the Faroe Islands.
Weirdly, Japan's on the list.
So Japan's a unique circumstance. So Helldivers 2 has a Japanese-only version, not a global version. Okay. So those people, that's why they're separate.
But I can
every other country on that list would have just been banned.
For example, I can understand why they didn't bother with Papua New Guinea.
There's one guy.
Pakistan? But it seems like they are taking a stance here, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Not the Northern Mariana Islands.
You know, the People's Republic of Korea.
Oh, South Sudan. No. But there are some decent ones in there, which, will have some players, if not
Guernsey, yeah.
one. I mean, North Korea will have presumably one.
Kim Jong-un, yeah.
Then you've got places like even the outside territories. So you've got United States minor outlying islands. You've got, as I mentioned,
Svalbard.
Island of Man. And so, okay, these
that's why.
Parts of our kingdom that you're cutting off. Never mind the Falklands, etc.
The British,
also Falklands and the Isle of Man. No.
British Indian Ocean territory as well. So if you're in the sea,
Guernsey,
you can't play.
Jersey.
But literally all of Africa's on this.
Pretty much.
So it's just like, no, if you're in Gambia or like
Serbia just gets kicked off.
Sony saying this out of they want to preserve the quality of good players. They want people with the best internet connections.
Libya, no, you're gone. North Macedonia, the Maldives.
They're going to be underwater anyway.
That's a holiday destination.
I think Russia might also be on the list, but I can't
Montserrat. Nigeria.
Point being that
these are not small countries.
Yeah, Sony doesn't offer their services in much of the world, so these people also would have
the Holy See.
Well, one player. Again.
The Pope is not allowed to play Helldivers.
No. So the people in these territories who had brought the game because they were allowed to and could play the game were just going to be screwed. You were just life over.
Pope's just sat there disappointed at his desk.
So those
I need a VPN.
Those people were upset. I mean, also, yeah, if you move to any of these countries, you're buggered because it's an always online game.
Yeah.
You just won't be able to log in. You just be screwed. It was great. Thanks. Wonderful for that. And, well, there's some more stuff. I mean, it was kind of nice that the game itself, people who haven't played it, it's a very team-based game and fosters a sense fosters a sense of unity, that we should all work together as players of the game for something greater.
To defeat the automatons and the bugs.
Which then turned out to be Sony Interactive. And we all came together to put negative reviews, at least, at stage 1.
We happen to have trained our player base to be highly cooperative.
And fight anything which harms their interests. Yeah. So they also decided to do this. Now, this guy, Pirate Software, big fan of his work, but we'll get back to him later. He noticed that they had a frequently asked questions section on Sony about games, and it used to say, signing into the PlayStation Network is optional when playing a PlayStation game on PC. And
That
overnight,
makes sense. Just as a quick thing, that makes perfect sense.
yeah, and then overnight they changed it, saying some games may require you to sign.
Ah.
So this is the other part, which is this is obviously a new thing. This is just something Sony wants to force on players. And the thing about PC players, I saw someone put this on Twitter. It's so true. The console players are more broad, casual.
Normie.
PC players,
Worthless.
they're not really players. They're more like independent contractors. If they don't like your contract, they'll just give up. They just won't provide you service anymore.
Yeah.
And that's what players are in a game that ultimately relies on there being a large player base. Because playing Helldivers 2 on your own sucks dick. You play it with 3 other people, it's pretty damn good. And you need that player base. So if those people all decide they're going to quit, you don't actually have a game to offer anymore.
But also, there's a distinct difference in mindset between PC gamers and console gamers. Console gamers, you get historically you got the disc. I'm sure you just download stuff now. But it was very much, okay, this is a compact, discrete thing that is on its own, and that's what you get, and you bought it, and you know what you're going to get, so you play FIFA or whatever with your mates and drink some beers, right? But PC gamers have always had access to everything. Like, we've got, the PC. So we can deconstruct it, we can mod it, we can change it exactly how we want. And this has always been a long-running part of the thing.
And they're less stupid as a result. For example...
It's not that they're less stupid, they're just more technologically plugged in, because that's the...
Well, there's
kind of
also a
thing that
higher
is.
monetary investment in the actual hardware itself.
Yeah.
But being more technologically plugged in means you're not so gullible to nonsense. That's what I mean by less stupid. For example, do you remember when Xbox 360 came out and they insisted that you must pay every month to be able to play video games online?
Oh, the Xbox Live paying thing is the dumbest thing ever. I used to hate it. It's why part of the reason I went to getting a PC. Well, I did have a PS3 as well, yeah.
But then obviously Sony fell to that rock bottom position as well and did the same. You don't have to pay money, obviously, because they're spending all that money on keeping the servers up. They don't spend anything on the bloody servers. They're just pocketing cash. That's what that's about.
Oh, it's owned by Microsoft, isn't it? And they're not exactly hard up on money. They're one of the biggest companies in the world.
But that's what the whole thing was about. It was a lie. And obviously most casual people would be like, oh, they've got to pay for the online service and not think about it. But obviously PC players are just like, I'm not stupid. You're not spending this much on keeping a server up. Don't be dumb.
Yeah.
So they just
people who use PCs know how these things work.
Like, if you bought 12 months, it used to be like £40. It's probably even more now. I wouldn't look. I would never pay Microsoft any money.
But the point being, people won't stand for nonsense. When you feed them crap, like, because they're independent contractors in this analogy, they know what they're looking at, and you tell them, oh, you need to sign into PlayStation Network for safety? They're just going to laugh at you. Don't be stupid. I mean, Pirate Software, being a guy who used to work for Blizzard, went through all this on his own channel, which is...
The reason I use a PC is because I don't want safety. If I wanted safety, I'd have a console like a fucking normie.
You do other stuff as well. But here's the player count for this as well. Because keep in mind, relatively new game, so I'm just going to scroll that out a little bit so we can have a big look.
Oh.
So you can see, blew up. This is pretty normal. New game, slowly pulled down. I mean, these numbers are amazing anyway. 100,000 peak players, but it averaged out here.
That's not... So they've lost a larger number of their player base?
No, that's just pretty normal. Like, new game, it's the new thing. People jump on, people jump off. But then it finds a place where it hits...
Sure, but you can see a definite dip there.
No, that's just people going to sleep.
No. Just before.
What are you talking about?
There we go.
Yeah, that's nothing to do with this.
You sure?
Yeah,
Okay.
because that's April 28th.
All right.
So as you can see, that's just the average where it bottoms out. About 100,000 people, enough invested that there'll be that number of people playing at any given, after work time. That's what that shows. But that means that they waited. So they took the application for signing into PSN off until they knew they reached basically their audience. So none of the casuals. And then decided to force this back in. So that's what I'm showing this for. But the reason people hated the PSN thing is you might just think, okay, it's another stupid bloody account. I've got what's the Ubisoft version of Steam?
Yeah.
I can't remember it. Uplay or whatever.
Yeah, all of the different launches are really annoying. Rockstar have one as well. And I actually bought Red Dead 2 again just so I didn't have to use the Rockstar launcher, which is kind of silly, but still, it's annoying.
Yeah. So, I mean, you might think, oh, that's fine or whatever. No, it's not. It's really not. Because as you can see here, I mean, part of the verification now includes taking a facial scan of yourself.
What?
And also issuing a government ID, such as a driving license or passport, to Sony. Which...
What?
Yes, for safety.
Are you going to be talking about some of the problems with Sony in a bit?
Not particularly.
Okay, because there's a very long list of data leaks from Sony.
Yeah, they've been hacked loads of times.
Yeah,
millions and millions of people's data.
Your face and your ID being attached to their name is terrifying to anyone who knows anything about anything.
Also, North Korea hacked them that one time, which was good fun. But you can also see on this graph up here, it's very small, sorry, but you can see some of the areas they're not offering it. Some of the areas they're offering it are obviously part of the EU, and some of them are not part of the EU. But then there are some countries like the Baltics where they're not offering PlayStation Network services, but they're part of the EU. So that would actually end up causing some rather large legal trouble, as in you wouldn't be compliant with EU regulation, meaning you're going to get banned from the entire EU unless you comply. That would be the problem Sony would run into as well. So they're not just pissing off the player base, they're also going to run into international or trading block obligations just with this one small move. And it's like, okay, yeah, no, this is pretty bad. As you can see, there are a lot of people who are just I love company people. I hate calling them fanboys.
Yeah, I leave the multi-million-dollar corporation alone, people.
Yeah, well, this person's like, oh my god, what a bunch of Karens whining about this. Like, no, those are very serious issues.
What? But why do you care about them? It's so weird.
And this came out. So this is a quote from the CEO saying here that he confirmed that this was part of the contract. Post Sony were going to publish it. They wanted people to sign in. They did it on launch. It blew the game up. So then they deleted it, and then they were having a lovely time. And then Sony have come back to force it in.
Yeah.
And now there's been a massive backlash.
So I didn't know about this, but it was evident that this is not something the developers themselves are going to be like, yes, I'd really like this unnecessary and irritating step to take place, please. This is obviously going to be something from the publishers and say, look, we just need this to happen now.
So you might be asking why? Because, I mean, a lot of people were just posting memes.
Yeah.
Endlessly being like, why?
We had a good thing.
You had to ruin it.
Do your job.
Your ego.
Yeah.
And, well, there wasn't a good one. No one could really offer a good reason, and it didn't really make any sense other than they wanted it.
Yeah.
It was like, okay. And then what happened is that Steam started offering refunds, which, no matter how long you'd been playing the game, no matter where you were playing the game, you were going to get a refund.
Right.
That is a sign of a bad thing happening, isn't it?
I assume that that's in regions that aren't on the PSN network.
So I think they were also applying it to regions that were on the PSN network.
Well, I tried to get a refund last night to see if it would work, and they said no.
Some people have been having no's issued to them, but some people have been having yeses issued to them. So I think it was John saying you had to talk to a person rather than the automated system, which makes sense. But the point being that once Sony realized that people were just going to refund the game en masse and they were going to lose all their money and player base and therefore the entire product, which is wildly profitable, they buckled.
Good.
They gave up. It worked, boys. The revolt actually worked. As you can see here, they came out and said, Helldivers fans, hello, this is awkward. We we heard your feedback, and well, we were going to require this, but we won't be doing it. Not going to do that. We're still learning what is best for PC players, and your feedback has been invaluable. Yeah. Japanese companies seem to have a big difficulty with learning Western PC world.
Isn't that interesting though? They're like, oh, we're not PC players, so we have no idea the kind of shackles we can put on you. All our console players are perfectly happy to be total sheep.
Isn't it just sort of competition between, consoles and PC, right? They're trying to make it more and more annoying to have a PC.
Well, they're trying to break in. They're trying to break into the PC market, obviously, and they're trying to apply console principles to it.
Well, no one can really. I'm sure someone who's better in the industry, like probably Pirate Software, can explain what the official motivation, not official, unofficial motivation was. Because the official motivation was about safety.
Yeah.
Which,
maybe,
like me at best.
What safety could there be? Like hacking, maybe?
Because there's some more problems.
No. I think I know, but sorry, Karen.
So these places are still banned. So Pirate Software has released saying, well, I'm not changing my review back to positive until you unban these nations. Because you've made a tweet, cool, but you're going to follow through. So who knows? We'll see as things go forward.
I love the people in Turkmenistan. Like, what? We're not safe now. Like, what have we done? Tunisia.
And the CEO's trying to make a laugh out of it. He said that he's going to turn the negative reviews into a cape for downloadable on the game. So that's one thing. But
that's actually pretty cool.
Yeah, it's fine. I mean, you can tell he didn't really want it.
Yeah.
He jokes here he's going to charge $1,000 for it. Why not? But the safety point. I don't know. Nobody knows, it seems. Maybe someone who does know can tell me what the unofficial actual reason for this is. Were they trying to force shackles on people for fun?
I think I can guess. Sorry.
Were they trying to get the console market?
My guess would be that if it is legitimately for safety, if it's sort of chained to a PlayStation Network account, it's going to be easier to ban someone.
Well, they can't
If they're
ban someone
cheating.
from Steam.
Because here's the thing.
It's harder to ban someone on Steam, I think.
But Steam don't generally deplatform, especially not for political reasons.
They do it for cheating only.
Mm.
So, so the story usually ends for most people here, and what I wanted to do was go a little bit further, which is to go and see what's going on, because some people have some thoughts. Anon has had some thoughts on that basket weaving forum that is 4chan. He mentions here how they, made a game for a bunch of chuds, guaranteed it was going to be successful, hire a bunch of questionable janitors for the community, and
politically engaged janitors, which Grums did a good job of exposing.
Well, he was asking what's the motive here, and it turns out it might be the case that, the safety aspect is they just wanted to ban people with the wrong opinions, because it seems to be the line that the community managers are taking. They're saying this is why they did it. So this is one of the community managers saying that they knew this was going to happen from day one. I'm actually happy for us to be able to take action against player reports and make the game safer across the board. And people are like, what?
Why?
So the community managers knew this was going to be the case, and they're justifying it to the community by saying, oh, it's to ban players for, not being safe. What does that mean exactly?
You can't be harmed from playing a game.
Yeah, because you go and check it out. Because it could be a cheater. That's a fair argument, but it doesn't seem to be about cheaters.
No.
Because here's Grumps, who's got the information. So here's that particular community manager. She, her.
Yeah.
Trans flag, LGBT flag. Okie dokie.
Also a person of size, by the looks of it.
Definitely a person of size. But there's some tweets in here that he's put together, and they'll be very small on screen, so I'll read them instead. So some of the best ones. She writes, I also don't like terms like casual and hardcore because they come with the implication that skill equals passion. Those words are something gamers are clinging onto, but they will be rendered meaningless as games become more accessible and inclusive.
Oh, God damn it. How do these people always end up in the gatekeeping position of community managers? How is it possible?
Another one of hers, this is during BLM, she tweeted out, I'm not talking much because it's not my turn to talk. It's time for black people to be heard and for white people to listen. Okay. She also wrote, Helldivers is pretty woke, dog, in response to someone, saying the game was made by a lot of LGBTQ and brown people and black people and women who are not people, according to her writing.
Hello, Islamic world. Did you know you're woke? Are we?
Yep.
You're brown. Yes. Fellow wokes. No, being brown doesn't make them woke.
So she says
Saudi Arabia. Woke.
The game was made by
Pakistan. Woke.
Women Brown's alphabets and is a satire of jingoism. It amuses me that they don't know that Super Earth is bad.
It doesn't sound bad. It sounds super.
Yeah, it looked quite good in the trailer.
Mm.
And he goes on with some other ones here. I mean, this is another community mod who's just saying that all gamers are toxic and entitled. And then there's another one here that says that the reason they implemented it is to ban people with the wrong opinions.
Did you not know that Super Earth is bad? Why is that? Well, it shuts down rebel pirate broadcasts. It doesn't allow dissent. Much like the community managers.
Yeah.
Can we have a side note just to talk about the law real quick? Because before all of this, there's also an interesting conversation going on. Because your article about Warhammer hits so perfectly on how to deal with this bollocks. So this is some footage of one of the automatons sacrificing itself to save a different one.
Ah.
And a lot of people interpreted this as, oh my god, the automatons, they have feelings, emotions, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, I'm sure that's what it was.
And there's this strain throughout the Helldivers world of maybe the automatons are people too, and were the bad guys. But then you find out, Thomas did the digging on this, the automatons, if you run into their bases, you notice that there's a bunch of humans who have all been smashed up and their heads removed.
Mm-hmm.
It seems to be the case that they remove the brain, stick them into automatons. So the automatons are actually humans who have been turned into robots for killing. And you can hear them sometimes say that they don't want to do this or shout, I'm sorry, as they charge at you.
Mm-hmm.
Couldn't get more evil. So they're actually not the Tau.
Well, I mean, and not only that, I mean, if we've established the automatons are actually humans, then suddenly they're the bad guys again.
Well, they're humans encased in a robot body and have no control, but do have consciousness.
I also noticed that their weird automaton logo in their basis looks a bit mid-century German. I think that's not an accident.
I don't think it's coincidental, yeah.
So that's one faction. The only other faction are literal bugs that will eat you.
Yeah.
And then there's Super Earth, who were a bit miffy on the whole idea of voting. And
Super Earth who are woke. Okay. Agreed, I'm with the bugs.
No. Like, they're gonna... You remember? Because I remember.
Didn't you know Super Eartha bad from her own woke mouth?
Well, you
I
made that
agree,
Warhammer
just like
article,
you.
which is talking about Warhammer 40,000. Like, you've got to side with the humans.
Yeah.
You're siding with the Tyranids, the Necrons.
Sure.
Like, don't be silly.
Sure, but the woke community managers are like, yeah, Super Earth is woke. Also, Super Earth is bad. It's like, yeah, you are woke, you are bad, you are the managerial democracy. You are condemning yourself every single time.
Wait, before you go off of this, Callum, have you considered that they have glowing red eyes?
Well, that's why I don't like them.
Yeah. I feel like that's a pretty good signifier that they're evil.
See, exactly.
That's just a side note about the lore. But getting back to the community managers, because here's one of them pointing out here, this is the one I mentioned at the end there, admitting that, well, they're bringing this in, and people were angry. She says, no, it's for us to ban people. That's the sole reason.
Yeah.
And he says, so couldn't you ban people before? That's a lie. She says, we could, but this increases the effectiveness of what we can do.
Yeah. So they can only ban people by going through Steam and saying, Steam, this person is cheating, therefore they need to be banned. Because Steam's like, we don't care about safety.
He called you mean words on Rust, did he? I'll call you them too. Now get off my chat line. That's Steam's approach to shit talking. She writes at the end here, there are certain legal requirements we have to follow to ban people, this being it.
Yeah.
Whereas with now it also being tied to a PSN account, they can ban you from PSN because you said a naughty word or the community manager didn't like you. And you're gone. You can't play the game.
Yeah. You know, I had the feeling that this was going to come up when I was playing a while ago, and someone with the username Women's Rights Was a Mistake popped into the game. And this, I've seen lots and lots of screenshots of other people with just, again, they're just comedy right-wing usernames that they've changed it on Steam to. So when they join the game, it's like, you know,
Islam's right about women.
Yeah, exactly. Stuff like that. And I get the feeling that they may have seen these things too.
Most likely. Because there's some more in here as well. So this is one of the other senior managers, which they. Yeah, of course. And this person, because Grumps has been tweeting about all this, showing off the real reason the community managers.
He's sexually assaulted many people he worked with.
Yeah, they've started making up that he's sexually assaulting people.
Right.
He's just like, I don't know what's wrong with them.
Okay.
They've also banned the use of his name.
Just Grum's serial rapist.
The point being, they're clearly very, very angry, bitter people who come from a certain political persuasion. Yeah. And they say that their justification for why this was brought in is so they could ban people for having the wrong thoughts. So who knows? But that's their opinion. At least that is the senior community managers of the game we're talking about, not nobody's.
But literally, Steam doesn't ban you for having wrong thoughts.
Exactly.
And so the only way they could do it is by tying it to the PSN network, so they have control of that.
And this is obviously very different to what we spoke about before, back when the game launched. They were banning anyone for just talking about anything to do with
that was just from the Discord as well. You could still play the game, you know.
Yeah, just the Discord.
Yeah.
But even if you were pro LGBT, blah, 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 the policy was just get rid of it. No, we're not engaging in politics. No.
Which is the correct position.
It was respectable, at least, being consistent. But instead, we now have to deal with this, because I'll be honest, I also did notice a trend in an awful lot of the community managers, which is men have had enough of dealing with that. And that's where I'll end this there, I suppose. That's the Helldiver Revolt, which, well, it worked.
Good job, lads.
If you appreciated that episode from the podcast of the Lotus Eaters, you can go to lotuseaters.com to get access to all the premium content that's on the site, such as the Brokenomics series, this episode on podcasting with Carl. If you'd like to find out what else is being put out, you can follow on Twitter at lotuseaters_com on Twitter. Thank you and goodbye.